Hey guys, Drifter here. Today I'm doing something pretty different for my channel. I've got mobile gameplay for you of PUBG Mobile. Very rarely do I post mobile games, but I did do some Pokemon Go and a little Fortnite Mobile, but I wanted to offer you my thoughts and impressions on Fortnite Mobile, the good, the bad, the ugly, and the bots, which is a very contentious issue, but we're going to go ahead and start off with the good on PUBG Mobile, and the good thing is that it's pretty much the whole game. Fortnite Mobile might be 100% the full game as far as I'm aware, but PUBG Mobile is 99% the full game, and the things that you're missing aren't going to be missed very much. Some things that I have noticed that are missing is that you only carry 2 guns instead of 3. Most notably, you'll unequip your pistol and take a second weapon very, very quickly, and that isn't really a downside because past the very, very early game, not many people are using pistols anyway. You don't have Q and E leaning, so you can't peek through windows quite like you would in first-person mode, and there doesn't seem to be any different fire modes on the guns. I can't put my M16 in burst or use my UMP in single fire rate, but I don't think that's really a bad thing. I'm not really missing those, and everything else is there. Even third-person peeking where I spin behind me, all of the items, all of the ammo, all of the attachments, the 8x scopes, the entire Erangel map, which is the Russian one, all the guns, the vehicles, the strange locations, pretty much everything that is PUBG is present in the mobile game, which I consider to be a good thing and kind of an impressive thing as well, because PUBG is an extraordinarily demanding PC game that has been murdering computers for the last year and causing so many streamers and YouTubers to upgrade. And it runs on mobile. Graphically, obviously, it's not going to be as good as PC, but it is overall pretty good. It'll vary a little bit by phone, and if you have an older, not-so-great phone, your graphics may not look quite as good as what I've got here. Most notably, when it comes to graphics, is that the draw distance is limited. It'll still render out people running around pretty far, but at even moderate ranges, you get the Picasso buildings and some of the trees disappear. And if you're going to be going for long-range engagements, you absolutely have to have a 4x and 8x, just because you need to be able to zoom in and see what buildings are or people are there. Shooting with the 4x or 8x is a lot harder though, so I'm going to recommend against using them in actual combat. Almost all of the gunfights in PUBG Mobile end up being close quarters combat, and when it comes to frame rate, it seems to be a very stable 30 FPS for the most part. There are definitely times when it dips and when it struggles and, some issues, but I would say that it runs at 30 FPS, and for a mobile game, I'm happy with that. I don't even know if my phone will do a 60 FPS display, so 30 is fine. Another good thing is that controls are surprisingly good for mobile, especially with a complicated game like PUBG where I probably use about 15 total keys when I have it all mapped out on my keyboard. The way they've set it up is kind of like Fortnite, where they roughly emulate your console controller sticks, where the left side of your screen is your move and the right side of your screen is a simulated stick that you use to aim with. So you can walk around kind of like you're playing a console game. Doors are touch to open, vaulting's pretty easy, you touch to pick up items, and speaking of items, inventory is actually better than it is on PC, which kind of pisses me off about the PC version. Guns come preloaded automatically. You don't have to reload them when you pick them up. They come already in fully automatic rate of fire. You will automatically pick up ammo for the weapons that you have as you walk over it, but up to a certain amount. After you've got a couple of mags, you no longer pick up ammo by default and you have to manually do it. Attachments that you don't have will automatically attach to your weapon as you run over them. So if I have, let's say, a Vector and I run over an extended quick draw mag, instead of sorting it and putting it in there and reloading, it'll just automatically slap on my weapon and the magazine count will go up, which is very, very nice. It will do that for sights as well, which is usually a good thing, but every now and then you run on an ACOG on an SMG or something that you'd probably not want to have. Not such a big deal since there's a lot of hip fire in this game, but it can get frustrating, and most of the equipment and items that you work with are just tap to equip. You just click a thing, you tap it, you equip it. To unequip it, you drag, you drop it. It's very, very simple, straightforward, and surprisingly fluid. However, there are some flaws with the controls. The biggest flaw is that the shooting button is on your look stick, so that you can't aim and look at the same time, which is very, very frustrating for me because I'm used to playing on consoles to where I can just, move the joystick around and pull the trigger to shoot. Well, in this game, the button that fires is right just to the right of your thumb that you would use to look, so you have to look at somebody, stop aiming, and then fire. So pre-firing is 100% of the way to win fights because you literally can't aim and fire at the same time. But it will definitely feel awkward. It'll feel strange to kind of walk up to an enemy have to stop, aim at them, tap a couple of times to fire, and then reposition yourself to do it again. It doesn't feel like a very fluid shooter in that regard, but I do understand that they're struggling with mobile here. Another tactic that helps me a lot is that I'll aim it up very, very closely on the vertical plane, and I can strafe like left and right and shoot at the same time. So I do a lot of strafe aiming, even though it does add some wobble, but it helps me be mobile, and a lot of them sit still, so it's quite easy. Having the fire button so close to both the aim stick and the inventory when you're moving that thumb around a lot means that you're going to accidentally tap that fire button, which means you're going to pop off accidentally a lot. I have alerted a lot of enemies to where I am because I've accidentally done that, and I've killed a few people because they've been walking around and accidentally tapped fire and just shot off, and I knew exactly where they were. There's a personal gripe that I have about the controls, and that's that there's no inversion for the simulated looking stick on the right hand side of the controller. I'm used to playing inverted on PlayStation, on Xbox, and any console game. There is no inverted option on PUBG Mobile for that simulated stick, so I have to play in normal mode, which to me would feel like inverted to you. And I do understand why that's not there, and it is a very niche feature that only affects about 2% of gamers, maybe even 1%, but it's extremely frustrating for me that it isn't. And finally, when it comes to controls, vehicles are a bit wonky. The vehicles are not as easy to drive as they are on PC. They're doable, but vehicles aren't really what you want to be doing in PUBG Mobile anyway, and it's super easy to crash the motorcycle. So far into this impressions review, I've been talking about good things. Let's talk about some of the bad ones, some of the ugly ones, and the bots. The bots is a big contentious issue, and that's that PUBG Mobile doesn't let you play with all real players until you've played about 5 or 8 games. You'll start your first game with about 90% bots in the lobby, and the bots are on very easy mode, and they're there to kind of give you targets to shoot at and let you learn the controls and get more comfortable with the game. As you play each game, and especially based on your performance in the game, the amount of bots will decrease. Eventually you'll have 80% bots, half bots, only 10% bots, and after you've played 5 to 8 games or so, there will be no more bots in the game and it will just all be real people. So if you play a lot, this won't be an issue, but if you jump into your first game of PUBG Mobile and you're sweating really hard, you're playing conservative, and you're thinking how awesome it would be if I got my first win and my first time ever playing this game, and then your friend tells you, yeah dude, you killed 8 bots that are designed to more or less just die and not fight back, that takes away a lot of satisfaction for the game. I do understand the developer's goal to give you a sort of safe space and an easy time learning to work the controls until you get comfortable with it, then you can fight real people, but it's not fun fighting bots, and it's strange that there's a mix in the game. Even the game that I'm playing right here, some of the people are bots and some of the people are people. And you would like to say, okay, well, how can you tell which is which? It's extremely obvious which is which, and you can even see it in my gameplay. When you kill bots, they almost don't fight back, they don't aim, they're shooting you in the feet. People play a lot like they do on PC, because most of the people on PUBG Mobile are PC players that are coming over, only limited by their controls. So when you engage a person, when you see an enemy, you don't know if you're engaging a potato that you could walk up to and probably pan to death on mobile, or if you're going to engage a really good player that's going to murder you the second he hears a footstep. So it throws this kind of monkey wrench into the flow of the game, and overall I really, really don't like it. Another bad thing is that I have a choice, or you have a choice when you sign in. You can either play as a guest or link your Facebook account. Ew, gross. No thank you. I am not linking my Facebook account, because that is just pure data sharing for Tencent or whatever studio is running this game, and I don't link my Facebook account for anything. I have my Facebook account all but deactivated. It's loaded full of junk data right now. So it looks like I'm a My Little Pony fan that lives in Iowa or something equally crazy to that, just so that it doesn't collect true data about me. And I dislike that the way to make an account is to link a Facebook account, and that the other account that you make is more of a very, very temporary one, as far as I can tell. My final gripe about PUBG Mobile is more about PUBG PC, and that's that why are there features on mobile that are really nice that aren't available on PC? I think that the map is easier and better designed on mobile than it is on PC. Being touch for a map is quite nice, but when you mark something, you get a straight line distance to your marker, you get a distance away in meters. Your inventory management is better, which I talked about in the controls. You pick up your guns fully loaded in fully automatic fire. You automatically pick up attachments and ammo and stuff like that, and you don't have to micromanage your inventory, or you pick up an Uzi in the middle of a fight and you have to sit there and struggle to reload it and to pick up the ammo and all this nonsense. On mobile, you'll just run over it and grab the Uzi and you're good to go, ready to spray people just like Fortnite, which is a godsend. There's so many little things. I think that the design of the plane and where people are dropping and all that is much better on mobile. It's obviously because mobile version was made by a different studio. It wasn't Tencent or Bluehole. It's just running very differently, and they had different ideas on what to do with it. But it frustrates me that there are features on a mobile game that I would like to see on my PC. So overall impressions, I'm very impressed by PUBG Mobile. Obviously PC still better, but I'm impressed and I'm quite happy with the game. Guys, that's all for this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something useful. If you did, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.